Hello, John. Today we're going to talk about Christian unity. And of course, we're talking about a word we don't hear very often, Eucinism. Can you explain to us what Eucinism is all about?
Yeah, well, the first thing I'll say is that Eucinism is an item, a matter that the Christian and Jobs Action Party, CJAP for short, supports Christians of all denominations, Catholics and people of other denominations. Eucinism has been going on for many years between the Catholic Church and other Christian churches, namely the Anglican Communion, which incorporates the Church of Ireland here in this country, and the Church of England. It's known as the Anglican Communion. The Methodist Church, the Presbyterian Church, and all of those other Christian churches, with an odd exception of the more fundamental kind, like, for example, the Free Presbyterians in Northern Ireland, founded by Reverend Ian Paisley, and was a violently anti-Catholic by that church and by that Reverend Paisley, who was an MEP and an MP and all the rest of it, and eventually then First Minister in Northern Ireland. But during his career he caused a lot of division in that country, in Northern Ireland, and delighted that is a thing of the past, and as Eucharism is practiced now in the island of Ireland, and particularly in the Northern Ireland.
What do you think prevented Eucharism from playing a more positive role in Northern Ireland, or did it play a more positive role to bring about what's happening now in Northern Ireland?
It certainly did. It matter of fact, I think it was nearly instrumental in bringing the political parties together, namely Sinn Féin, who claimed that they had a war going on in that country, even though it was classified as terrorism by most commentators, which it was, and by the Protestant, the other Christian denominations, which had this enmity towards their other Christian Catholic neighbours. Didn't make sense in that neck of the woods in Northern Ireland, the 6 counties, but with the like of Ian Paisley and other so-called Christians with an anti-Catholic bias and equating Catholics with rebels and terrorists was the most mischievous thing to do. Glad to say, by the efforts of various Christians in that neck in the Northern Ireland, in the 6 counties, to try and come together with their Catholic and other Christian organisations, it has led to this peace. I'd say if it wasn't for that, there would be no peace, because the political parties, even to this day, particularly Sinn Féin and the Democratic Unionist Party, founded by Ian Paisley, that is the DUP, and led by now a lady called Foster. There's not much love lost between them, because they're parties of extreme views in their respective positions. The ones that would be more middle of the road would be the SDLP, the Social Democratic and Labour Party, in that neck of the woods. But the political parties hijacked, if you like, what should have been a form of coming together by the Christian churches, which I'm glad to say is taking place to this day, at this present time.
With the decline of mass goers in Ireland, especially in the Catholic Church, and some would say the decline of members of the Catholic Church, what role does Eucharism have to play in that area, do you think?
Well, it has a very important role to play. Christians, including the Catholic Church, the Church of Ireland, Methodist Church, the Presbyterian and others, particularly the emerging churches in which African people predominate mostly, called different things, but nonetheless with a Christian ethos. The more that they can come together in many ways, and the more that they can withstand the anti-Christian bias of the media, which I spoke about before, and which really has to be spoken about constantly. I'll give you one example of it. On a program just recently, in September, Live Line, which is a popular enough program, and on this occasion it was being presented by a fellow called Philip Butcher Hayes, who's a broadcaster in RTE that often steps in when various people are on holidays or not in for one reason or another, including the evening programme, which is a news magazine type programme, Monday to Friday. Now, he was on the Joe Duffy Live Line programme, and a commentator was talking about, they were talking about this Amendment 8. And the person that was, for the Christian point of view, mentioned that there had been a referendum and that it was passed by the majority to protect the mother and child. Now, Mr. Butcher Hayes should be neutral, but the first thing he said to that commentator, having a pro-abortion individual on his program in the studio, said, well, that referendum was 30 years ago. I mean, it's time to have another one. Well, it prompted me to wonder, of course that was biased by that program presenter, Butcher Hayes, that why not have to revisit other referendums on which there was the voice of bishops taken. For example, there was 2 referendums in Ireland that refused to ratify the Nice and Lisbon treaties in the EU, and thus that we might be obliged to leave that organisation. Britain has left it recently, but we've never revisited that, so perhaps we should revisit that and have another vote to know whether we'd stay in or out. That's one example. The other example is the vote that took place for the same-sex marriage referendum. Suppose we should have another look at that in a couple of years' time to see how it's working out.
And so it goes on and on and on.
Excuse me. So that's an example of the sort of pro-abortion mindset of the media, which they're not representing in a fair and frank way the views of other people that oppose that delusion and pro-abortion.
Can you name
agenda.
some of the different Christian denominations in Ireland, churches, for example?
Well, we have the Church of Ireland, which is affiliated with the Church of England, or the Anglican Communion as it's called, who have a hierarchy much the same as the Catholic Church, going up as far as the Archbishop of Armagh in the Church of Ireland. And then the other Christian churches, the Presbyterian, they have ministers, likewise the Methodist, and they are supported, and very well supported, particularly in the north of Ireland. People definitely, the majority, practice their faith in that jurisdiction. Regretfully, in the south, that is the Irish Republic, because, as I mentioned, of the anti-Catholic, anti-Christian bias of the media, particularly the dreadful RTE, the state broadcaster, has kind of eroded and deflated the practice of the Catholic faith in Ireland, which is the duty of any person that was baptised as a Catholic and made his first Holy Communion and confirmation to practice his Catholic faith. And if he's married, he or she is married, to pass it on to their children. But a lot of them are not doing that. Shame on them. This is an obligation on their part, and regretfully the bishops and priests are not highlighting that fact.
How do you think that these different denominations could work together under Eucinism?
Well, they certainly could mount a campaign to support the referendum that was passed years ago to protect the mother and child, and to and to object to the media and other anti-Catholic and Christian bigots that have highlighted this item on the airwaves, and who are on it morning, noon and night. The Irish Times have been castigated for their support for this to the tune of 76 or 80% of their coverage being on this pro-abortion issue, which has been demonstrated on a study done over 3 years. So this is an organisation, this is an organ that prides themselves on their expertise, but I don't see much expertise there or fair play. Shame on them.
So you're not suggesting that these denominations would come together under one roof, because it's not possible, but what you're probably suggesting is that they should pool resources and support each other. Is that
correct? Particularly in this area, because other Christian faiths support the idea of marriage between a man and a woman as being a natural way to go about things, and that's one example. The other one is they support mother and children, the mother and child, equally as has been practiced in this country for years, to the good health of mothers and babies that have been born. So that's very important, that the Christian churches unite and not leave it all to the pro-life laity that are very effective in trying to mount a campaign. But they're up against it with the bias of the media, and I think the other Christian churches, if they have any influence in those organisations, it want to be heard and not be silent. They may be speaking out, but perhaps they're not being heard.
so the other denominations within the church, the Christian churches, should be more proactive, is what you're saying, really?
That would be their duty as they are followers and believers in our divine Saviour Jesus Christ. That's what they purport to be. So if they follow that, then by rights then they should follow what he has laid down.
Okay.
As important.
Thanks very much, John. We might cover this topic again at a later date. It's quite interesting.
I say we will, because this is going to be ongoing, and it behoves the Christian and Jobs Action Party and all like-minded people and all friends that I have in that particular party to come out and support the Catholic and Christian way of solving issues, the moral issue for the welfare of all, not just a selected few.
Thank you very much.
Thank you.